trying to um I'm trying to present my screen. Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, I can see it screen.
All right. Um, okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Mm, yeah. So good evening, guys. Welcome.
So
Welcome.
Emmanuel,
Yeah.
are you recording?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I am. I think I am recording. I
Is it
think.
Bishop?
Yeah. I think I am recording. I am. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So good evening, guys. Welcome to today's session. Currently, week two, as you can see, and that was too much time. Today's class will be on introduction to HTML, like I said. So I believe we by now we should all be aware that HTML is basically like is one of the foundations, right? One of the fundamental technologies that a web developer has to be conversant with to be able to build web application websites, basically. Yeah, my name is Emmanuel. Short form Noel. Anyone? So yeah, we just take a little flashback, a brief overview of web application development. I think last week, um, is it Latson that taught the class for last week? He actually went deep into introducing the web technology, how everything work, all the stacks, from the browsers to the front end to the back end, the database, everything. He actually went deep. He did a great job explaining all the details. But anyways, for this brief overview, we just glance through the surface of things. So basically, a typical web application structure, right? For a typical web two application. So I have to bring that into context. That for this case, we are actually talking about like a typical web two application, as opposed a web three application that might have maybe some blockchain backend or some other things somewhere. So yeah, that's like for a web three application, by the way. So but for a typical web two application, the architecture goes like like this. We have a web browser, which the end user interact with. So the end user is able to interface with the application from his or her web browsers, and listed here are just like some example of web browsers. There's Chrome, there's Firefox. I don't know if you're still using Internet Explorer, something like that. You get the point. So yeah, and so on this web browser, basically, mm, the user interface of the application is presented to the user. So it then begs the question of what makes up the user interface of a web application, right? So for the most part, it just the HTML, the CSS, the JavaScript, and some other resources like maybe your image, your media files, and whatnot, fonts, and so on and so forth. So the browser basically is responsible for obtaining all those resources that comprises the user interface, and then display it to the end user. So some application also have web servers on the back end, right? So web servers, application server, um, well, um, web servers basically are like, they are just like this script that runs on the back end. Normally the user does not interact with it, but then through things like maybe HTTP requests, um, we can actually send some data to these web servers to do some things, to perform some tasks, some business logic or whatnot on the back end. And then there are also application servers. So application servers basically sometimes they act as this proxy, reverse proxy or something like that. They sometimes actually sit in between the front end and the back end. Basically, sometimes they do some catching functionality, like maybe catch some files, so you don't have to like hit the server every time. Basically, just like reduce the workload on the server and all that. And then there's also sorry, can you come again? I didn't get that.
Like, I'm not getting your explanation starting from that. Yes.
Starting from where?
Not yes.
Okay, yeah, okay, all right. I'll just come again. So like I said, um Node.js, PHP, Ruby on Rails, basically they are frameworks that we use for the backend of web application, right? So this backend, they the user does not interact with it directly, right? So there is normally a communication, like a communication channel from the browser here to the backend here, and sometimes that communication happen over HTTP, which is like hypertext transfer protocol. Although there are also some other protocol basically that we can use to communicate with backend, but for the most part HTTP is like the most common one. So what the backend does, like the Node.js, the PHP, Ruby on Rails, they are just like programs. They're just programs that are running on a machine somewhere. Most times it is like they contain the business logic of the application, right? So depending on the application you're building, say you're building like a social media application, for example, maybe a banking application, for example, or whatever application basically that you're building, right? So you would not want to put your business logic on the front end per se. So these web servers, like, they give you that very nice way of isolating your business logic from your front end. So you just so basically you write your business logic on your back end, and that is made possible by these frameworks like Node.js, PHP, Ruby on Rails, the Java, if you like, maybe C++. There are quite a number of like technologies that you can use for your web servers. And I said for application servers basically, we, for now we can just look at them like let's just say they are this kind of infrastructure that sits in between, they're just in front of the web server basically. For the most part, like they help for things like load balancing, things like caching. So by load balancing I mean sometimes you might have different instance of your web server running on the back end, right? And you have a lot of users. You don't want to be hitting one instance of that backend all the time, so you want to distribute the load between those backend, those instances. So you can use you can use an application server like, let's say, Nginx for that. And also like I said, with your application servers you can also implement caching. You can implement catching, like you can actually catch some resources on them, so you don't so you don't basically have to pull those resources every time from, let's say, your database. Like that might just be too expensive in terms of like like uh, in terms of like the time that it takes for the request to go one round trip. So you can just like catch some resources there, and yeah, they also have some other functionalities, but I think those two are like the basic ones for now. So I hope that part is clear. The guy that asks the question. So moving on, we have the database. So basically, database like just just like these engines that we use to store data, right? Maybe user data. Let's say you have a website, you have a bunch of users, so you want to store their information, right? Let's say their name, their phone number, even their password. So when they log in, can grab their password and see if they are, you know, if they are like registered users or not, things like that. So we use database, and there are different like kinds of database: MySQL, Postgres, quite a number of them, but you get the point. So yeah, so this is the basic web 2 application structure. So we have the web browsers on the front end, we have the web servers, the application servers, and then we have the database. So yeah, moving on. So this part, what gets sent to the web browsers, right? So from here, if we come back to this, you see that there's a communication going on from the web browser to the application server, right? And sometimes it might actually end up here to get some data, but then what gets sent to the web browser from the application servers? So for the most part, it is just the HTML document, and the HTML document itself would most likely contain a link to the style sheet. I call this CSS here, basically. And then inside the HTML document, we'll most likely also have a link to JavaScript files and other resources as well. Like let's say the image, the media files. Say you're on Twitter, for example. When you load Twitter, it loads up the HTML, the CSS to style, the JS for interactivity. Like let's say you like a tweet, you retweet. Those kind of interactivity are enabled by JavaScript. And then images as well also appear on your user interface, right? You have pictures, you have videos, and whatnot. So yeah, then the most important thing that gets sent to the web browser is actually the HTML document. So through the HTML document, we can link to other resources. I hope you guys get the point. So in the minute, we are going to see how that link is enabled from the HTML document, right? So yeah, that is basically what gets sent to the web browser, to the user interface. So moving on to basic HTML definition. So HTML in itself is an acronym for hypertext markup language, right? I don't know if you have been doing some programming for a while, you probably might have come across this debate. Like some people say HTML is a programming language, some people say it's not a programming language. Well, it depends. I think it depends on your interpretation of what you think a programming language should be and should not. But for me, I always argue that as far as it has some syntax to it, it has some rules that the computer can basically understand and interpret, right? Then it is a programming language. But then you might have your own opinion about it. Anyways, those are just like definitions. So hypertext markup language is a markup language for the web that defines the structure of web pages. So basically, the primary purpose of HTML, is to give structure to a web page, right? So if there's no HTML, there will be no structure to our web pages, right? And then the way HTML gives structure to our web page is by using tags, right? So an HTML document is entirely composed of tags. So there are different tags, like the HTML tag itself, the title, the head, the body, paragraph, divs, and all that. So apart from the structure, the tags also add semantic meaning to the web page, right? So these tags themselves, like they can like, depending on how you use them, right? I mean, if used correctly, if the tags are used correctly, they can add semantic meaning. For example, say a tag like section, a tag like header, right? So a tag like header, for example, would be used to identify the header part of your web page, right? And a tag like, let's say, section will be used to like identify a section of your web page. So if someone is looking at, let's say, your HTML file, right? So the person knows, like, oh, this is the header, right? So this is where these tags and everything that's defined within them is supposed to be. Also, even the browser, for example, I think there are some like accessibility stuff that are actually related to using all these tags, right? So there are some tags that when you use them, for example, by default, some keys you can like navigate to them with some keys on your keyboard, and they also have like some accessibility options that will be enabled on your web page by using those tags, right? You can actually do some research and find out more on that. So basically, these tags actually, they also add semantic meaning to the web page, in addition to the structure, of course. So yeah, what does HTML tags? What does HTML tags look like? So here I say tags are used to provide meaning to text, format information, display content, and add overall semantic structure to a web page. So commonly used tags are the head tag, basically for like the header, to identify the head part of a web page, the title tag for like the title of a web page, and then the body. So everything that is visible to the end user basically start from the body, right? So from the body of the HTML page, everything inside of this body tag should be visible to the end user. And then we have divs. So divs, people use divs for different things, use divs maybe as container, people use it to define like a section of a web page, to structure content, and all sort of things. So there are other tags as well: the paragraph tag, the link tag, anchor tag for creating external link, a link to external resources, and maybe creating link even within the same web page. I think you can use anchor tag for that, and so on and so forth, and yeah, HTML tags can also take attributes. So these attributes they're like extra bits of information that are attached to an HTML tag. So often they are used for the purpose of identification, classification. For example, you can define can give you can define a set of attributes. So you can define an attribute to a set of tags, right? To a set of tags, and then through that attribute you can classify all those tags, right? We'll get to that anyways. So with attributes you can also add styling to the tags. You can execute JavaScript code on an HTML element. So looking at the examples, this div tag here has an ID of container. So the ID here is an attribute, and when you give an ID, when you see an ID in an HTML file, right? So the ID attribute basically is meant to be unique. So it means that by unique I mean that only this div, for example, within that file should have this ID of container, right? So if you need an attribute, for example, that can be shared by more than one element, in that case then you can use a class. So that's just like the main difference. The ID basically is meant to be unique to an element, and then if for example I put a class here, class equals to container, then I can have another div within that HTML element with class equal container basically. Anyways, moving on, we also have the style attribute. So the style attribute is how you can add styling to an element directly, but for the most part you won't see things like this, right? So like it's actually often recommended like to use an external style sheet when adding style to an element. But then just for the sake of knowing, this is actually valid HTML syntax. This is very valid. And then moving on, we have this other attribute here, onClick. So with onClick, what onClick here is doing is basically calling a JavaScript function on this button, right? So what I said there, and executing JavaScript code in an element. So this is exactly how you do it. You can create a button in your HTML and then call JavaScript code directly on that element using attributes. I hope that part is clear, but then I think we'll get to examples of that. Yeah, so moving on to basic syntax rules. So like I said, HTML is a language, whether you like it or not, right? It's a language. So every language has a syntax to it. Yeah, is someone asking a question?
Yeah, I wanted to ask.
Okay.
I don't know if it has been on their mind, but
Yeah.
are we going to have like a live presentation? Where you get to show us
Yeah. Like once I get to the end of this slide, I'll move straight to my VS Code and show some demo. So do you get that?
Yeah, good.
Exactly. Because honestly, all these theories basically like they can be really like at some point they can get like maybe boring or you know. But then anyways, I think they're just good to know. So basic syntax rules. So tags should be surrounded by angle brackets. So by angle brackets, these are what I mean, right? These things, this symbol, open and close, like these are the angle brackets. Element must have explicit start and end tag, with the exception of self-closing tags. Element can be nested, so you can nest an element inside an element, nest an element inside that element, and nest an element. So you can really nest elements in HTML, like and then tags can have optional attribute to modify its behavior. Content of element must be enclosed within opening and closing tags. So those ones are like, so yeah, this is a simple HTML document structure, right? Say you have like an ID, for example, let's say Visual Studio Code or some other ID right? So this is how you basically define um, an HTML file. So you can see the doc type, the HTML tag, the head section, the body, and then the closing HTML tag. So like I said, everything in this body tag is what would be visible to the user. And moving on, oh, I think this part was supposed to show the output, like when you render this thing on the browser, the output. I don't know why it's not showing, but yeah. So for the conclusion, we are going to be building a simple landing page. I think if you check the curriculum before this class, that is what is there, like intro to HTML, and then build a simple landing page. So the landing page, we are probably going to use only HTML, no CSS, no JS. So well, we'll see how it goes. So yeah, that's the end for this session. So does anyone have any question? Please, if you have question, you can ask. So
Okay, good evening. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. Good evening.
Okay. Thank you very much for the slides. I think I'll just add a little to what Nuse said about
Yeah.
this is what they call the coding section. Since you finish this slide now, I think we should be having more of coding sessions so that we can really get more of practical than the theory. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. You're welcome. Yeah, we are going to have a coding session for this class. There will be a coding session, sure. Yeah. Does anybody else have? Does anybody does someone else have a question? Okay. I guess I'll just move on to the coding session. So yeah, for this one I'll be using okay. I hope you guys can still see my screen. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. So yeah, can you see my VS Code? Just to be sure, can you see my VS Code? Can you?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, yeah. So basically, VS Code is an IDE, right? It's probably like the most popular IDE for web developer, smart contract developer, and whatnot. So yeah, I'm going to create a new file inside. Let me just create a new file. So basically, I've just created an empty HTML file. Call it index.html, right? So we can actually start by defining all the tags, like doing the doc type HTML, then closing the HTML tag, and doing all that. But I like to use a very easy helper. So if I just come on my keyboard and I type this, I don't know what's the symbol called. Is it exclamation or something? Well, Okay, please go ahead.
No, I don't have any questions.
Oh, alright. So if I just basically type this symbol, you can call it exclamation, and then you hit enter. So VS Code does some autocomplete, some auto completion for you, right? So it gives you the basic structure um, of an HTML page. So from everything I've been saying, these are all the tags. This is the HTML tag. I think this doc type has to do with like HTML version 5, if I'm correct. I think so. But then the most important ones are like the HTML tag itself, and then the head tag. This is the head tag, right? With some metadata that basically defines the page, the HTML page itself, the character set, TF8, the name, viewport, content, all the stuff. And yeah, this is the title. So by the way, let me just copy the link. Let me copy the part. So let me copy the part and paste it in my browser so you can see. So yeah, there's nothing displaying there, but then we can see the title. If we just look here, we just take a peek at this part, right? You can see the title which says document. So we can basically change it to, let's say, landing page, and then if I refresh, right, so that's the title, it changes to landing page. So basically that is what the title is for, right? It gives it shows the title, it displays the title of the page on this section of the web browser. So when you are browsing a website, let's say Google Meet itself or some other websites, right, if you look at this side, you see the title. So that's how we can achieve that. So yeah, going to the body, let me just create a simple paragraph. I'm going to just say intro to HTML. So then if you refresh, yep. So you see, like I said, anything inside of this body tag, anything basically inside of this body tag will be visible to the end user, which is us. So yeah, that's by the way. And before I proceed quickly, I think there's this extension. So I hope everyone here uses VS Code. I hope everyone uses VS Code. Hopefully. There's this extension, I think it's called Live Server. Yeah, let me quickly install it so we don't have to be refreshing every time. So with Live Server, we just have to save the document and it would automatically refresh from the browser. So I think they use Node.js to achieve that. Anyways, let's install Live Server.
Sorry, I can barely hear you.
So can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think
Is it better? Okay. I think it's my mic. Yeah, I'm trying to. Okay. So I think this.
Oh, please, can you like that Live Server? You're saying something about it. I didn't get it.
Yeah, so I was saying with the Live Server, we don't have to refresh every time we make a change to the web page, right? Because as it is now, anytime we change something, we have to go to the browser. We have to do a refresh for the change to be updated on the browser. But I think with this Live Server, we can just, it is automatic. So starting, but let me just copy this. I'm not using Chrome. site now is live, but only on our local host. So let me just do a quick change here. Introduction to HTML. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. So we don't have to refresh now. We just save it and it updates automatically. So yeah, that's that for that live server. I think yeah. So so having done that, I think we are going to proceed with the landing page. Please, if you have question, you can just interrupt at any point in time. Just ask, and I'll do well to answer. Okay. Yeah. So for this section, we're going to be building. I'm going to be building the landing page. We'll see how far we can go with that. So, the landing page. What does the landing page look like? Let's just see what we can do. So, for a landing page, we should have the. Let's say we should have the header, something like this. Come on. Okay. So, all these tags basically, like I said, they apart from structure, they add like semantic meaning to your website, right? So I think if you go to, let's say, Web3 School or maybe Mozilla documentation, you can basically like see the meaning and how to use all these tags. So that's the header. So what are we going to have on the header? Let me see. I think we just create a div. I can call it like inside the div we can see like let's say our logo. And then we can create a list. So the UL, this UL tag basically is to create an unordered list, right? So the UL tag gives us an unordered list. And talking about nesting, inside the unordered list, we can have our list item. I think this thing works. It's been long I did something like this here. Okay. So this is just like a helpful shortcut. If you want to create multiple element at once, you can use this shortcut. Let's say times 4, right? And then it just like creates all of them. You get the point. So yeah, that's that about that. And so for our list, let's just create an about let's say home. Let's say about. Please, I would really appreciate if we can make this section interactive. Okay, so like if you have like I know some of us are quite conversant with HTML. So if you have any idea you feel like you want to contribute as I'm writing the code along, you can just like contribute it, right? Just like say it out, like. So if you can make it interactive, I think the better. Okay, so I don't know what else can I add. Let me see, what else can I add?
Contact.
Yeah, thank you very much. Contact. And let's see one more. Yeah, I think I want contact to be last. So contact, and let's see one more. Let's see one more. So someone can just suggest one more.
Maybe our services.
Yeah, services. Thank you very much. And so we can just save and see how it is. So yeah, this is what we have. So we have our fancy logo, looking nice, I guess. Anyways, and then we have our links, right? So this is how it is for now. So we can come down, from our header, right? And by the way, yeah, in HTML you can create let me see, you can create comments, right? So it will be hard to convince someone like me that HTML is not a programming language, because I know what programming language, like, this is one of the things that they give you, the ability to create comments, right? So you can create comments in your HTML file as well, just for knowing. So this is header section, and yeah, our comments it should not render on the browser, right? So the HTML parser will basically ignore that comment. Anyways, that's just for knowing. So you can come here and create a section. So this is what I like VS Code. You really don't. There's a lot of like shortcuts when it comes to writing HTML in VS Code. You can just type out the tag and press enter to complete it for you. I don't know, like, so yeah, that's by the way. And inside this section, so this part will be after the header. Let me just add a little comments here. Oh, let me just see. So our section begins here. Yeah. So what do we want in our section? So before that, I'd like to show you. So this is an example of a self-closing tag, right? If you remember from the slide, I said every tag should have an opening and closing tag, except for self-closing tag. So for self-closing tag, basically, you don't need to have an opening and a closing tag, right? So the same, it opens and it closes like on one single tag, and this one basically just adds an horizontal line to your web page. So that's for that sake. And so I think our section would be like the main thing on this page. So I assume I want to have, let's say, some text, right? Let's say some text on this side, and then I want to have like some image, let's say a very big image, a portrait, something like that on this other side. So everything there will be inside the section. So for the text, we can use sorry, I was pressing the wrong thing. We can use, let's see, H1, and then what can we write? Let me see. Let me see, landing page. Well, let's just see some. Hold on. We don't have to put anything special. We can just use some placeholder, right? Maybe when you are doing your own landing page, you can now put some things that make more sense. So for this one, I can just use lorem ipsum to get some dummy text.
Sorry, I hope I'm not interrupting you.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Okay, I think you can just use your shorthand to your VS Code. Just write something like lorem 10, then hit enter.
Wow.
It will just give you like 10 characters of text.
Are you serious? Interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It depends. No matter any number of dummy text you want, you just have to hit your lorem and maybe 1,000 text and the rest of it.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That's I think that's a lifesaver. Wow. Thank you very much. prefer for the section to be like interactive, all these kind of things. You never know. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah. So that's our text. We can have, let's see, another text under it, right? And let me say this one will be, let's say, lorem 10. Okay. All right. And then we can now have our image. So let me quickly look for an image on the internet. Portraits, pictures. I think there's this site where you can get images for free. I don't know. Let me see. Okay. This is not looking. Let's just use. Can I copy the link? Copy image link. Copy link. Hold on 1 sec. I'm trying to. So you can just create an image tag. Right. So this is an image tag, right? I think an image tag is also a self-closing tag. Right. So the source attributes here should point to the link where that image is, and then the alternate text is like a text that the browser can render. Let's say let's just say it's more like a metadata for that image. When you say portrait picture, and for the link here, I hope this will work. Landing page. Let me see. Okay, I think it works, but this image is too big. It's really big. Anyways, so what can we do now? Basically there's not much, right? Let me change this to H1. Let me change it to H1. I want it to be like gold, yeah. So basically there's not much to a landing page. I think what is left to do now is to like add like CSS to this thing, style it up and make it look a little bit nicer. So just heads up, we'll call this our basic landing page for now, right? And then this class is not meant to like be like an CSS class, but anyways, it's not bad that we just like touch on a little bit of CSS. I'm sure some of you are already familiar with CSS. So before then, just specify here, call it index.css, right? So this kind of this way of creating CSS is what we call linking to an external style sheet, right? So the CSS basically is its own file, and then we can link it into this HTML file. The other ways to do it, we can actually come here and put the style tag here and write our CSS here. I think we should do it like this, right? I think we should do it like this. Let's just wait about this one. Let's just wait about this one. Since this HTML document is not very big, right? We can add the CSS to it. So we can just put a comment here and say, okay, let's see, CSS begins here. thought I was still writing HTML. Sorry. Am I missing something? Am I missing something? So okay, I'm trying to. I don't know. I'm trying to target the body here. I'm trying to add style to the body, like let's say background color. Let me see. Let me use this one. Okay. Let me see. Okay, I think it's working. It's working, right? So yeah, basically just add some background color to our landing page. Interesting. Interesting. So by the way, moving on, we can come to the header. So basically, the way you write CSS is like CSS is it's what's the word? It's a declarative language, right? So you start with the selector for the element you're trying to target. Now for this one, we're trying to target the header. So I want all these items to be aligned horizontally, right? Instead of now they're just all stacked up practically like this. So I want it aligned horizontally. So I'm going to come here in my CSS and say something like header. I think when you're doing it like this, you're not really getting some VS Code autocomplete. Anyways, it would have been better we use the standard style sheet. But anyways, it's all good. So yeah, so this is the header, right? So it has two child, the logo and the unordered list. So I want them to be horizontally. I think the way to do it is to use let me see, display flex. Is it flex box? Let's see, display flex. I think it's flex. Yeah, so you can see like these things are now they're now stacked up horizontally, and then we can just we can space them apart, right? We can space these two apart. We can use I think justify content, space between. Yeah, so that obviously puts this one on this side, this one on this side, right? So I think one good way to look at when you're trying to look at your HTML document, you have to try and understand the structure of the document, right? So for example, look at this header, right? Like I said, there are only two child inside this header. So this header is aware of this h1 and this ul as its child, right? So that's why when we have this styling justify content space between, so it applies to the h1 and the ul. It doesn't apply to all this one, because all this list item here, they are now child of the ul. You get the point, basically. So let's now come to the, I think we can come to the list item themselves and add some basic styling. I don't want this class to really go too long, so we'll just speed things up. I think you can stay list type, reduce all these all those little dot icons on them, and then we can give this one again display of flex. So we're just going to abuse display flex for this one, like so, yeah. And then we can add padding. Let's add the padding. Let's say left padding of like 10 pixels. Does that work? Oh, okay. I think this padding should be. I'm trying to give a little bit of space between. Anyways, so we can come down to the list items themselves. HLUL. I'm trying to give this padding to all the list items. Yeah, so we have something like this, right? What else can we do? This thing here, this contact here, I think it would be nice to make it in the form of a button instead of a list. You can make that a button, and that would be so let's see. Yep. So let's just okay. Let's add a class to our button. Like I said, you can add. Let's make it an ID. Right? You can have an ID attribute to an element, right? So if you have an ID, basically only that element can have that ID inside the web, inside the HTML file. So anything I add, any ID I attach this element can only be unique to this element. And let's call it contact button, right? So to target that ID, we use this hash symbol, right? And then we call it contact button, and trying to give it some padding. I want it to be a little bit bigger. Let's just say 20 pixel. That's too big. I beg your pardon. That's too big. 5 pixel. Okay, not bad. Let me make it 10 pixel. Let me see. Not too bad. And then we can give it some. Let's see. Can give it some border radius, right? Let's see, 0.5. I don't know if this is sorry guys, I'm not an expert with CSS, so I hope you guys can forgive me. But anyways, I think we get the point. Like
Okay, please can I make a contribution?
Yeah, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Okay, for the header tag, we use display flex. Justify content space between. So I think you should add align item center. So align them first.
Okay. To align them horizontally, right? Or vertically.
Then also for the other parts, the UL stuff, the header UL, also use display flex. So let's align them horizontally.
Okay, that's this one. Yeah. Align items.
Yes.
Okay. Align items.
Justify content center. Align item center. Justify content.
Okay. Justify content center. Okay, let's see what that does. Oh yeah. This, I think this looks better. So for the button, I'm trying to Okay, I'm trying to give it a border radius so it can be border radius, so it can have this round, yeah, something like this. But I think it can make it better. Let me see if I use 1.5. Yeah, I think this is better. And add more, they just add more padding here, like 15 pixel. Not bad, not bad. So anyways, anyways, I think that should do. I forgot to add one more thing inside of this list items. we should we should give this, like, we should make this guy's link, right? So it is clickable. It's not. It should be okay. Yeah, so it's now, it looks like a link, but we are using this href to hash, so it's a link to nowhere basically, but it's a link. At least it's a link for our small project. It's a link. So I'm just trying to speed things up. So I think a very good take-home assignment would be like to create a landing page, right? Create a landing page, and let me quickly start the link. Let me see a I've forgotten the attributes. To style,
Text decoration.
is it text decoration? None, right?
No.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so that removes all those underlying stuff from the link. We can put like color. I think color works for the text. Let's see. Let's make it black. Yeah, it works for the text. So I think that should do for our header. It's not very pretty, but you get the point, right? We have this HTML, we have all these tags, the header, the H1, the UL. We have like we can add comments to the HTML page, and then let's see what we can do with section, right? So let us style our section. Let's just give it a little bit of style. Let's say display flex, so that the items are horizontal. Yep. Okay. So I want this guy to be under this guy. I want this text here to be under this one. So we just have this one under it, and then we'll have the image. Let's see what we can do. Well, first of all, let me add some width and height to the image, right? Let me add some width. Let's see, I don't know, let's see 600 pixel, and height, because the image is really big, so you can just crop it down. Okay, not bad. And in fact, for this section we can just add the width. So let's see, then put it at 800 pixel. Okay, so make it 900. Not bad. these things to be apart, right? We want these things to be apart. Um, so in my mind, these two these two tags should belong to the same element. Should belong to, like, I want to group them together. So if you, I will just use a div and I'll move them into that div. So that they are effectively two child of this section. This one, the div tag and the image tag, right? So yeah, something like this. Now I can justify content to space between. So I hope you guys get the point. Like, this section now has two child, the div and the image, right? So any style I apply, like if I apply a style like, let's say, justify content, that style would it will be applied on the child of that section, space between, let's say. Okay, I think that's because it actually works well. Yeah, I think that's because we added the width. So I'll still add the width. Let me use a percentage. Let me say the width should be 80%. 80% of the container. Okay. Let's see 70%. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. So yeah, I think we can add margin top to bring it down, like margin top of, like, let's say 200 pixel. It's too much. For the most part, I think writing CSS is just like try and error, like, adding style, removing style, until you just find something that you're okay with, right? And then you call it a day. So yeah, what else can we do so I would like to center this section. I want it to be at the center of this page, right? It appears to be like shifted to the edge. I want it to be at the center. Basically I'm trying to center a div. How do we center a div? I don't know if someone can help me. If in my mind I'm thinking of putting a margin, a left margin. Since I'm trying to center it horizontally, right? If I put a left margin of, let's just say 10%. Let me see if kind of it shifted it. Okay, it shifted it to the left a little bit. Yep. And yeah, so what else can we add to our landing page? I don't know, if you have any idea, you can contribute, you can suggest. What else do you think we should add to this landing page? Because for me, I think it looks, well, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. It's not too bad, right? We can do with this. I mean, if you keep adding, doing CSS, and it will just basically take the whole day. So the point is to understand HTML, right? Understand the fact that HTML basically serves to give structure to a web page, right? Understand some HTML tags, right? Like the head, the meta, the title, the body, the header tag, like I said, used for the header section of the web page. The H1, I think there's H1 to H6, right? And then there's on ordered list. There's an ordered list as well. These are just like varieties. Like I said, we can put comments in our HTML document. We can add comments. So these things you see here, these things are comments, right? We can create a link. We can create we can add an image, right, that links to a file on the internet. Like you see, we don't have this file on our local on our local drive. It's not my computer, but with this src attribute, I can link this image to a file somewhere on the internet. I don't even know where it is on the internet, but with this attribute, I can link it into my HTML page, right? And here we quickly touched on CSS, right? We did a little bit of CSS, add styling, added some styling, to basically just make this thing look a little bit nicer, right? We can actually go on, make it responsive, add some, maybe add some. I mean, you can get creative as much as you want to be, as much as you want, right? You can really get creative with CSS. I mean, there are people that do crazy things with CSS, like you begin to imagine all those good stuff. Anyways, yeah, I think for now we would leave it at that. So if you're just getting started with HTML, right, or let's say you're learning Web 2, I think it should be like a good project. Create a landing page for yourself, right? Just create a landing page, a simple landing page. It doesn't have to be anything too fancy, right? And but at least it should look good. You can create a logo, put instead of this thing here, you can put a logo. I think that there are some websites, there are some online tools you can use to create logo. So you can create a logo and link it here, right? Add some text, you can put like maybe a link. This link here should be maybe to your Twitter, to your LinkedIn if you use LinkedIn, to your GitHub if you have GitHub, and whatnot. You can put your picture, a little bit of description. Welcome to my, welcome to my, add some text. Nothing too difficult there. So you can do that and then push it up to GitHub, right? So yeah, I think we would leave this at that. So this is our basic landing page, but you get the point. Like I said, the goal is just to explain, to give a brief introduction to HTML. We're not trying to explain or to go through everything that there is to HTML. That won't be possible, of course, in one class like this. So, but then I will suggest some good resources, right? To learn more, like Web3 schools. I think Web3 schools, they have like a lot of content on HTML, and there's MDN, Mozilla documentation. You can go there, like they have content on HTML, CSS, JS, and then the good old free code camp. I believe a lot of us are using free code camp. So yeah, I would stop presenting. If anyone has question, please do well to ask before we call it a day. And by the way, I hope we all use GitHub. I hope we all use GitHub. Yeah, thank you, Nancy. Thank you for that. This is a simple HTML portfolio by Ire. So yeah, wow, this looks really nice. So this is what I was saying. So instead of all these links, all these things are linking, all these things where I was doing here, where is it? Okay, here, that are linking to nowhere, right? You can add your, I think this one is Medium, this one is LinkedIn, this one is GitHub, Instagram, Mastodon, Twitter, Notion. This is Notion. Anyways, some other things, anything that interests you. But this is actually nice, and I don't think this will be too difficult to do. You can basically like take up the challenge and try and do something similar to this, or maybe even get more creative and do something, do something that looks good for yourself. Push it up to GitHub, and I don't know. Please, if you use GitHub here, if you use GitHub here, please can you like signify? Just use the hand icon. If you use GitHub, anyone? Let me see. Well, so did you guys get the question? Like I was asking if you use GitHub, but then if you use GitHub, I think this could be a project that you can do, like you can do maybe over the weekend, right, and then push it up to your GitHub. It's not bad to have a portfolio page like this on your GitHub, right? It's not bad. And then if you don't use GitHub, but if you like to learn GitHub, Git basically, if you like to learn Git and GitHub, if we have enough like interest from people that are willing to learn Git and GitHub, I think we can do. I would suggest to Nonce. I would suggest to Nonce that probably we can do like a midweek class. We can have a midweek class, right, where we'll basically introduce you guys to Git and GitHub. I think Git and GitHub, it's a really important tool. Like if you are doing any kind of software development, either web, blockchain, any kind of software development, like you should know how to use Git and GitHub. But anyways, that's by the way. I think I will stop my presentation now, and thank you guys for your time. Thank you for attending today's session. Yes, I'll just stop presenting. If you have any question, you can ask, and I should hand it over to Nonce at this point. Yeah, so Nonce, yeah.
I think that'll be Latson.
Okay, Latson. Sorry if I didn't get your name.